Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Alexander Armstrong. In the news this week, round the back of Westminster Abbey as the royal wedding guests depart and the Duchess of Gloucester searches for her missing hat, the Archbishop of Canterbury unwinds and reflects on a job well done. There's evidence that some people already have access to the gruesome photo of Osama bin Laden's dead body. And new evidence has emerged that US personnel practiced for months on every aspect of the Osama operation, including the burial at sea. Ian's team is a broadcaster and journalist who once caught out funeral crashes by creating a hoax death, so she should be an authority on this week's main news story. Please welcome Victoria Coren. And with Paul Merton tonight is a stand-up comedian who recently had his first haircut in 4 years. So if some of you are having trouble recognising him, I can confirm, yes, he is indeed Ross Noble!
4 years? Oh, yeah.
And we start with the bigger stories of the week. Ian and Victoria, take a look at this.
Oh, amazing pictures. Osama on Shergar. That's the house where he was found, living peacefully, undetected. Now, that's the Republicans. They think Obama's dead. Oh, no, he's not. Guess this story. I think he is genuinely dead, but we're not allowed to see the picture.
Do you know how long it takes to Photoshop a terrorist who died 7 years ago to make it look like he was recently shot in the eye?
You've been on the internet again, haven't you?
Yes, they got him. I expect that's the trouble over.
Mission accomplished. It's all done. 10 years in, all over.
They showed those people in Times Square all shouting USA, USA. I wasn't sure if that was a response or they just turned the cameras on and that's what's always happening.
Do you think the Americans have been a bit gung-ho, then, Ian?
I think what they've done is failed to get the story right afterwards. He was either cowering behind someone who was his wife in the middle of a hectic firefight, then it turned into, oh, it wasn't his wife, she was shot in the leg, he wasn't carrying behind her, he wasn't armed, there wasn't a firefight, there was only one bloke on guard. By the time this is on, it'll probably be they were after Gaddafi.
Do you know what the White House spokesman Jay Carney put this inaccuracy down to?
Making it up as we go along.
The fog of war.
Confusion.
Oh.
I have that picture of them watching, that was weird, in the Situation Room, watching it on the television.
We do, yes.
It's a fascinating picture because you don't see what it is they're looking at. You see, Hillary Clinton looks so thoughtful. I like to think that if you look the other way, it would just be Michelle showing them colour swatches for the new Situation. I like that other woman as well, right at the back, just peering in. She's going, is this human resources?
But apparently they weren't watching it. There was a mechanical failure, a technological failure, so they weren't watching it live. So that picture is a bit bogus.
I thought so, because I'm not sure, one of these two people is Joe Biden, but they look identical. I thought maybe they used one of those panoramic cameras and Joe Biden, for a bit of a laugh, ran round. He could be in it twice. I was reading about how apparently he had quite a nice, peaceful life there in Pakistan, and he had the neighbours' children over to play with his pet rabbits.
Yeah, he sounds a real sweetie, doesn't he?
The place was named after somewhere where he'd been hiding out previously.
Waziristan.
Yeah.
But it was actually called Dunmurderin, the house. I love the fact that I was reading it and the Daily Mail couldn't resist putting on the front page his £1 million luxury hideaway. The property prices, even in Pakistan, obsess them. The idea that no one in Pakistan knew he was there. Do you know Mr. Bin Laden at all? Do you chat over the fence? Yes, he's lovely. He's lovely. Keeps himself to himself.
They all sound like Alan Bennett in Pakistan.
Oh, he was very nice. Oh, yes. We had a sponge finger and a cup of tea.
I don't know about the beard, but...
And what were the compound's special features?
Bat cave? Was there a bat cave in there? There was a swing ball. That was it, wasn't it?
An extensive wardrobe of disguises.
Was there beard straightening tongs?
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
There was a rubbish burning area.
Hang on. Do you mean for burning rubbish, or do you mean
Ineffectively.
that's just rubbish where you're burning that?
That's how the neighbours knew, though. Because
they
he
were
didn't
burning.
put out, amusingly, his bins.
That's right.
The rest of them, dutifully, because they're all Alan Bennett, putting out the bins every day. And there's Mr. Bin Laden, he burns the lot. Why?
That could have been great. He could have had Dusty Bin Laden, and it was just a little can with a spinning beard. Hey! Apparently, all the intelligence came from Leslie Crowther.
That's true. Do you mean Ted Rogers?
Ted Rogers. I'm a fool to myself. Yeah.
You don't mean Leslie Crowder's got nothing to do with it?
Yeah, you're right.
You're making it up.
No. Well, that's the trouble. The Americans said it was Leslie Crowther. It turns out it was actually Ted Rogers.
No.
Obama went like that. He went, right, commence the mission in 3, 2, 1. And there he was. And the beard. But look at that one pensioner clapping up the mat. That's a brilliant reference, that.
Also, the compound had no functioning telephone or internet connections. Obviously, a BT customer. So what reason did Pakistani intelligence give for failing to notice this very cleverly disguised, massive, fortified compound?
Well, it was Cameron said that Pakistan were generally looking both ways. It's a wonderful image of the buildings there, and they're going...
I mean, to be fair to the Pakistani authorities, they haven't really got time to catch international terrorists. Far too busy stoning rape victims.
Sounds like a cue for a song.
What did local civilians have to say about the compound?
They like the rabbits.
Well, according to the entirely believable locals that the Sun spoke to, they'd always had their suspicions about the compound. Tractor driver Raza Khan said everyone was worried who they were. I often heard sounds like army drilling in there. I think they were training. I heard the word jihad.
As in, you've been jihad.
Are you saying that's a made-up quote?
I think it probably is.
And if
Mr. Raza Khan.
And also, if he was on a tractor, how did he hear someone saying jihad over the noise of the diesel engine?
You might have had a lunch break.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's probably why I lost my job with MI6.
Yeah.
You know? I was doing a lot of covert work with the Wurzels.
Yeah.
Same pensioner.
Local residents also claimed the occupants
Do you remember when
were
Snickers used to be called marathon bars?
Local residents also claimed the occupants were very suspicious of everything. What wouldn't they allow two small boys to do?
Get their footballs back.
That's right,
Yeah.
yes.
I love the idea of the football going over. Can we have our football back, mate? And him just pulling out pictures of terrorist atrocities. No, and that's why.
That's right, two local boys, Ahmed and Asif, said they... said they were given £2.50 for every cricket ball they knocked over the wall, and another tenner from every journalist they told that story to. Where did the US government think bin Laden was many years ago?
They thought he was in a cave. Mm-hmm. In the Bora Bora Mountains.
Oh, Tora Bora, wasn't it?
What?
Tora Bora.
Or was
Bora?
that film? Tora Tora Bora.
I think you're right.
It's a sort of cooking lard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, here's Donald Rumsfeld giving us a concise summary of where he is.
He may be dead, he may be seriously wounded, he may be in Afghanistan, he may be somewhere else.
That was some years ago, obviously.
His puppet's a bit crap, though, isn't it? It's not fooling anyone. You can see the fingers and everything. Come on, huh?
So who...
Let's start a war. We will not start a war. Let me start a war. Oh, you cheeky puppet.
So who was sent in to do the job?
Seals.
So,
Bit unfair of them. Trained seals.
Stands for?
Special? Something.
Sea, air and land.
But air doesn't start with an E.
Do you know what the actual name of their unit is?
Barry?
According to the Daily Mail, it's shrouded in secrecy. The most plausible name is Navspec Wardevgru, which stands for Naval Special Warfare Development Group, or DevGru for short. How do they select SEALs?
with names like that, they're just anyone Welsh, and you're in. You just go, do you want to join the... All right, I'd quite like to find that Bin Laden, me. Mind if I... Give me a fish and I'll be right in there. That's how they do it.
It's an intense series of tests, including swimming combat, close quarters combat, free-fall parachute operations, and, at the end, an endurance test, Hell Week. Basically, they just watched Britain's Got Talent, finally. Why did the burial at sea upset some Muslim fundamentalists?
Because they were in a dinghy just underneath.
And he was respectfully buried from a height of 30,000 feet. So when he hit the dinghy, he was doing it over 80.
And unfortunately, it was a rubber dinghy, and he bounced straight back up. And the Navy SEALs got a shock when he emerged. Oh, bloody hell, look who's there. I thought we got rid of him. I chucked him out the back. Watch that beard on the rotors. Flying around.
Why were they upset?
Sorry.
Hair in the rotors.
Well, no, but what specifically about the sea burial was it that upset them?
Well, it means they've got nowhere to mark as a grave. So there's nowhere as a centre for pilgrimage.
And more specifically, he wouldn't be facing Mecca.
Well, depending on the tide.
Yeah. Right, why has the killing of Bin Laden come as a bit of a relief to Gary Weddell?
Because he looked like him, presumably. And everywhere he went, people said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Right, yes, he's an American schoolteacher who 10 years ago vowed never to shave again until Bin Laden was caught or killed. Here he is. See, not many people know this, but apparently also at the same time, Danny Alexander said he would never shave again. So. Yes, well, this is the compromising to a permanent end of Osama bin Laden. The operation to kill the al-Qaeda leader was perfectly timed after a busy weekend and caught bin Laden completely off guard just as he was taking down the bunting. Initial reports that the Americans had shot one of bin Laden's wives, who was being used as a human shield, outraged fundamentalists, as his wife should have been at least 3 paces behind him. Describing everyday life at bin Laden's compound, the Mirror reported that a range of newspapers were delivered each morning, adding a cleaner also visited daily. Blimey, bet she had her work cut out on Tuesday. Paul Adros, here is yours.
Ah, right, so yes, this is...
Miss BMP?
Yeah. He became very popular against one of their rallies in the centre of London. I don't think he's a real policeman. Who are these people? We do these things so much better than anybody else, don't we? Weddings.
Yeah, you know that without
There's
watching
not another
it.
country where people can get married in a proper order and it all works out all right. I mean, there's Argentina, very often the bride doesn't survive because, you know, somebody starts shooting. But over here we do it really well. It's something we do really well. We do it really well.
I think it's done wonders for the tea towel industry.
Exactly.
Because it was flagging a little bit.
Yeah, it was.
Boom, they're back.
Somebody said they employed lip readers to sort of see what they were saying. She said, I do at one point. He said, I do at another point. But apparently Prince Charles at one point turned to Camilla and tried his lip reader, and apparently he said...
During the national anthem, apparently the Queen actually turned to Prince Philip and went, sing it, bitch.
Say that about the
They're
Queen.
playing our
What do you mean you can't say that about the
Can't
Queen?
say
You
that.
weren't even watching.
Sorry, she said... Yeah, sing it, bitch. Sorry. You're right. You're right. Obviously, the Queen didn't talk in a Geordie accent. I've made a terrible error.
Should we revisit a particularly delightful and traditional scene from the
Yes.
wedding? Have a look at this.
Yeah, for Paul's benefit.
Yeah, I'd like to see
He
it.
hasn't seen it.
I haven't
There
seen
we
it.
are.
Oh, fantastic.
That's actually that's the shuttle from the EasyJet. They're just on their way out across the runway there.
Very disappointing for those minor royals to go to the Abbey in those buses. They probably thought they were going to Alton Towers.
Who's in those buses?
Well, someone said they're the type of buses usually paedophiles are in, with people going, shut! They're not very glamorous, are they?
What did Harry say when he first saw the bridal procession coming up the aisle?
He said, "Phew, you should see what's coming." I don't think he said, "Phew," like that. I think he did when he saw her sister, though.
Well, according to the lip reader employed by The Times, he told William, "Wait till you see the dress." Although, according to the Daily Star's lip reader, he said, "Christ, she looks stunning." Yeah, what nugget did David Cameron share with Nick Clegg?
I've never liked you.
I want a divorce.
Yeah.
He revealed I had to have my trousers let out.
Where were they imprisoned?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, she's a good-looking girl, but there's no need for that. Really. That's not...
It's not seamless.
That is just disrespectful. Oi, use the hymn book, use the hymn book. That's what he said.
Actually, while we're on David Cameron, what took Eamon Holmes by surprise on Sky News halfway through an interview?
Was it a rhino in a bikini?
No, he was halfway through an interview with the PM. Have a look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I saw you on Walkabout with the crowds yesterday. What do you think it means to the people of Britain, this wedding?
Well, we're quite reticent.
Oh, we seem to have cut off the Prime Minister mid-flow there for Tara Palmer-Tompkinson. Coming up there, complete with her lovely hat, and of course she's had recent surgery on her nose as well, which is, I must say, looking very, very pretty, but...
It's something that close sometimes looks like it's been fired at them via a cannon in the distance of the Horse Guards parade or something.
Someone said the hat was meant to draw attention away from the nose, which is having a hat shaped like an arrow, pointing.
Everyone's very horrible about the women at this wedding, and the pictures in the paper in this one looks awful. They all tried to look nice. Meanwhile, all the men from the royal family look like something off a Quality Street tin. Nobody did anything about that. Pointing at the women's dresses and saying they look awful, I think it's very impolite.
No, everyone was looking at the men's clothes. You see Cameron's tie? Oof.
Quickly, though, who wasn't there? Who wasn't at the wedding?
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Gordon Brown.
Tony Blair.
Lionel Blair.
The late Harold Wilson.
Tony the Tiger from...
The Honey Monster?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
The Royals wanted Tony Blair, they just couldn't afford him. And, of course, all the main news channels were there to cover the day. The BBC coverage was actually very dull. So here's Damon Green of ITV News bringing us an exclusive shot of another truly British sight.
This place is absolutely full of people. Let's cross the road again, don't get run over. Have a look over there. Let's have a look. Inside that knot of cameramen.
Shall we turn our attention to the outfits? We're going to play a little game called What's Wrong With This Outfit?
Yeah, one of the ginger ones turned up as Satan.
I'm sure it's going to be very friendly and nice about all these ladies who tried very hard to look nice, worried about it, went to the hairdresser, went shopping several times, asked their mums, does this look all right? I'm sure we're going to pay tribute to the effort they made on that important occasion.
OK, let's have a look at the first loser.
What's wrong with this outfit?
Well, it's lovely and cheerful, isn't it? Nice colour, very flattering.
No hat.
Yep.
She didn't have a hat on.
She didn't have a hat on.
And that's what's wrong, is it?
That's apparently what's wrong.
And she's only got one shoe, if you look there. She hopped all the way up through the church. Pogo stick, spring in the bottom of that.
With a Land Rover door sellotaped to her back.
Who can spot what's wrong with this outfit?
Oh, I tell you what was wrong with that one. 3 people wore the same thing.
That's exactly right, yes. Have a look at
How
this.
did they get into that?
Oh, I see.
Sorry. Yeah, look. Is that every woman's worst nightmare? I mean, apart from being assaulted in a park.
Sounds like a cue for a song.
You wouldn't see the same outfit on somebody thinner than you. Obviously, that would be terrible. Probably worse than being assaulted in a park.
Good, good.
Good?
Next, this is Princess Anne's look. What do we think of that? Paul?
It's well, yes, I can see definitely there's an influence of Stella McCartney and Alexander McQueen in the way that the collar comes off the neck and flows down the body. And I think they've gone for a very sort of 1948 look there, the austerity Britain thing. The idea of sewing in the food vouchers and the... and the petrol coupons into the material, actually, I thought was a fine example of bringing forward haute couture into the mainstream of society. I don't know. What are you asking me for? I've no idea.
And finally, anything wrong with these outfits?
The Dark Lord is upon us.
Let's face it, who can they ask for advice that's sane? That they know.
Do you know what that colour is called that she's wearing?
Beige.
Is it?
John Quill?
No, it's called nude.
Slightly worried if that's her nude. Has she got some sort of lattice work cleavage? I must admit, to
be Elizabethan.
To be honest with you, with that lattice work there and with her hair and everything, I fancy a pork pie.
Let's just take a closer look at that hat there. It's become a fashion item worldwide. Everyone's wearing it, as we can see from this picture on Twitter. Shall we have a look at the kiss?
Yes.
On the balcony.
That's nice.
The Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge. Oh.
What's Truman Capote doing at the royal wedding?
Let's have a look at the dress. I mean, Victoria, what do you think of the dress?
Just ask it again, but slightly more patronising.
The Sunday Telegraph decided to do some research into the highs and lows of the day as experienced by the different genders. For women, the peak of excitement and happiness came at the first glimpse of the bride's wedding dress. The couple's walk back down the aisle also produced an upsurge of joy in women, while the second kiss on the balcony was another peak. Meanwhile, male viewers reported boredom. Well, here are two women from the Middleton's village of Bucklebury in Berkshire, whose reaction certainly seems to back up this research.
For such an ordinary family, this is just phenomenal. I can't believe it. I mean, look. Oh, look at William looking at her, look.
It's magical! It's absolutely magical!
It could be anywhere else!
Magical! Kate's life is going to change so much.
Look at her holding on to her father's hand so tightly. She's holding on to her father's hand so tightly.
Bless them. I am Hey, William!
Why couldn't that have been the whole coverage?
And to back up the theory that men found the whole event utterly boring, who better than ITN's Mark Austin?
Well, Mark Austin's going to spend the day out there with them. He's out there somewhere on the Mall now, Mark.
I'm only spending the day here if it doesn't rain, Phil. So I'm surrounded by scouts now, and there is something going on here which is rather odd. But never mind. You're going to enjoy yourself. Oh, I don't know about that.
Must say cheers.
Pardon?
Cheers to Will and Kate.
All right, cheers to Will and Kate.
The Daily Mail is offering its viewers a unique souvenir of the royal wedding.
Horseshoes.
Yes.
Horseshoes worn by actual horses that actually were alive when they actually got married.
That's exactly right. The Mail has secured all the horseshoes used by the household cavalry in yesterday's wedding procession. Here's how you could win one of these historic souvenirs.
So the horses have to compete to try and win back their own shoes.
Do you win one if you shoot a gypsy? There you go.
Why won't plumber Baz Franks be needing any more royal souvenirs?
Because he's collected so many of them, his wife said, listen, Barry, your plumbing work's no good anymore. Last 3 customers actually drowned. If you don't get rid of the plastic model of Prince Philip's in the kitchen, then I'm going to leave you.
No, he spent £1,000 having tattoos of William and Kate put on his teeth. There we are. It took 6 hours, and they will last for 3 months. As they get punched out. Yes, this was the fairy tale royal wedding. The wedding was covered by the world's media, including the German newspaper Bild, which lamented, why don't we have royals like the Windsors? You do. The Windsors. Lip readers revealed what William said to Kate in the carriage on the Mall. Jolly, isn't it? Wave to everyone. Thus summing up the next 60 years of her life. David Beckham wore his OBE, but breached etiquette by wearing it on the wrong side. Although, to be fair, it was on the correct side when he checked in the mirror. Round 2. And in tribute to this week's historic AV referendum, the stories for this round will be chosen by the alternative voting system. On your ballot papers, you will have 4 stories to choose from. All you have to do is place them in your chosen order of preference. The story that receives the lowest number of votes will then be eliminated, and the 4th choice will receive the 2nd choice votes until... Yep, it's very simple. It's very simple indeed.
Some people just don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, the result you've ended up with is the story that none of you really wanted, and it's Gnome Fan.
This is a woman who put all of her gnomes on a roundabout, and everybody died.
Everybody died?
I made the last bit up, but she died and left her gnomes to the roundabout.
She left her gnomes to the roundabout?
To the roundabout. They were lovers for many years. she said, what's happening in this relationship? It's not going anywhere. Oh, shut up! Shut up! You come up with a dating roundabout gag in a hurry.
We're just going round in circles.
I can't see a way out.
You are essentially right, yes. This is the story of Veronica Pratt, whose last wish was to have her garden gnomes placed on a roundabout on the A40, lining the route to her funeral. Let's have another look at the gnomes. There they are. God, those ones at the back are massive, aren't they? Anyone ever been distracted by a gnome?
Yes. Yeah, I was doing my English show level. And
someone shoved it up his arse.
Yeah. It was a known enemy, so I knew who he was. No, known? You groaned at a joke that you made up yourself. I said known enemy. You thought I'd said gnome, so you groaned. So it's you should be groaning at. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
In other health and safety news,
yes.
What can you no longer do with bumper cars?
You can no longer bump?
Yeah.
That was a nonsense story, because they've had these signs up in fairgrounds for decades, no bumping.
And not only that, they're called dodgems.
Yeah.
You dodge them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody did dodge them. That was the whole point. Yeah. You bumped them.
Yeah, but you can still bump them.
Yeah.
Wait until the greasy bloke looks away.
Yes, according to the Mail, visitors to the seaside holiday camps have been told they face being banned from the ride if they bang their cars together. Instead, they must drive slowly and carefully in the same direction. That sounds wonderful.
That sounds enormous fun.
Doesn't it? The bumping ban means that now the only cause of whiplash at Butlins is when Grandad spots a 16-year-old in her bikini. Now, let's have a look at your second choice of story that none of you wanted, to an even greater extent than the story we have just had.
Is it Lib Dem?
And it's going to be cricket commentator.
Cricket commentator.
Yes, why has Edward Bevan been in the news, Ian?
Someone hit the ball, and he was commenting on the cricket match, and he said, oh, someone's hit the ball, it seems to be coming this way, and then it came right through his commentary box and hit him on the back.
He was commentating on what a fantastic shot it was.
Yeah, and it hit him.
I don't know why I'm telling you this, we can hear it.
You would say, Steve, that Somerset are on course for 350 here, which will be far, far too many, one feels, although one never knows in this wonderful game. As Robert Croft comes in now, and Bo Trigo comes down and hits it up towards us, and is it going to hit us?
The ball has just come right through our window here, and Edwards had a blow in the back, I'm afraid.
The bizarre thing, this is the 3rd time it's happened to that commentator.
That is exactly right, the 3rd time.
Well, that's no accident.
That's the deliberate very unlucky.
Well, when it's happened to him before, has it been at a cricket match, or has it just in the supermarket and so a cricket ball at his head? Or?
No, he was living in Abbottabad.
Oh, yes. And he went over to complain about the noise.
Wouldn't it be great if he did motor racing, though? They're coming round the corner. I'm on the bonnet of the car. I'm sliding to the left, I'm to the right. All my skin's come off.
Yes, Bevan told the Mirror when the ball went through the window, the batsman put his fist in the air as if to say, I've been trying to do that for years. When the ball struck the window, the startled Welsh-speaking commentator let out a shocking stream of 14-letter words. Cricket's very popular in Wales, exactly the same rules, only there you can be out LLLLBW. Time now for the odd one out round. Ian and Victoria, your 4 are A, B, C and...
Well, it's going to be a super injunction thing anyway. One of them almost looks identifiable, but I'm worried I'll start and policeman will come on.
No, you're all right. That's Andrew Marr. And the odd one out is Marr, because we know about the injunction now, because it's been lifted.
But you played quite a part in this, though, didn't you, I believe?
Well, I got a lot of credit for a story that I never actually ran. I was going to. I challenged the super injunction. Then he went to the Mail and lifted the injunction and confessed. So, hooray!
And apparently the only reason he did that is because, by admitting to it, they gave him a horseshoe. Honest to God truth.
He was embarrassed that he'd taken an injunction to protect his own private life when he was asking questions all the time about other people's private lives, which is perfectly reasonable. It just took him a long time to realise that he should never have done it in the first place. So he said to the Mail, I'm embarrassed, I'm uneasy, I shouldn't have done it. Which is true. When he's asking David Blunkett about his child or Prescott about his affair, it all looks pretty eggy. And the Labour Party are furious, because he asked Gordon Brown, basically, are you taking pills? And they said, that's none of your business, this is private, this is my health. And he said, no, no, it's in the public interest. I.e., was Gordon taking antidepressants? I mean, we were.
Why did he get a super injunction in the first place?
Because he'd had an affair with someone and there was a child which he thought was his, and then it turned out later it wasn't his after DNA tests, so...
He got DNA tests. They didn't just look at the ears and go, nah. Just a DNA test? It's either yours or Captain Spock's.
Who is the father?
It's like you want to go to prison.
I heard it was...
It was the drummer from the Steve Miller Band. It was the head saxophonist in the Glenn Miller Band. What?
That was him, but it isn't. It isn't either of the Miller Bands.
Someone else entirely.
Someone else entirely. Oh, God, do I want to go to jail? No, not hugely.
Oh, go on.
Oh, right.
It's good for the programme.
We can go not being on it.
Go to a live link at you in Wandsworth, banging your tin mug against the bars.
It's not like that anymore. I went to Ford Open.
Did you?
And the governor said to me, you'd like it here, there's a bridge club.
Ian Stanley Hislop. You are a habitual criminal.
The odd one out is Andrew Marr. Sorry.
I think I might have got an odd one out right for the first time in about 20 years.
Fantastic. Yes, the odd one out is Andrew Marr, as thanks to super injunctions, he is the only one who we can now name. Just before Marr hosted his first Sunday morning show since the super injunction was lifted, his guests were heard whispering about the elephant in the room, but it turned out to be Andrew Marr's shadow. Colin Ross, here is yours. Corporal Jones.
Corporal Jones.
The Ministry of Information.
Ministry of Information.
David Cameron. And the Scousers.
And the Scousers.
Catchphrases.
Don't panic, Corporal Jones.
Cameron said, calm down, dear.
Calm down, dear, yes,
and
yes.
the Scousers, they were, calm down. So they're all
saying calm down. Keep calm, keep going is the Ministry of Information thing. So, yeah, Clive Dunn's the odd one out because he says panic and everybody else says calm down.
It's absolutely right, yes, that's... During last week's Prime Minister's Questions, David Cameron told Angela Eagle, the Shadow Treasury Chief Secretary, to calm down, dear. He refused to apologise, claiming it was just a joke.
It's Michael Winner's catchphrase, and our Prime Minister thinks it's funny.
Victoria, you're a fan of Michael Winner, aren't you?
I had a bit of a spat with Michael Winner on Twitter because he made some remarks that I'm sure he meant as compliments. I didn't take them that way. I'm a very humorless person. Now he's bought me lunch, and so now I really like him.
You do really like him?
I love lunch. He was talking about driving. He said, do you know you can drive in the bus lane for only £60? What a bargain!
What did Labour chiefs accuse David Cameron of?
Well, they said he was patronising and sexist and misogynist and Tory. And worst of all, Prime Minister. A lot of annoying things.
Yeah, Harriet Harman went even further, saying women in Britain in the 21st century do not expect to be told to calm down, dear, by their Prime Minister. Oh, give it a rest, love. How did Miss Eagle respond?
That's right. She carried a small lamb up a mountain.
Oh, better than that. She said, I've been patronised by better people than the Prime Minister. I said, well done, you. The Keep Calm and Carry On poster was printed at the start of World War II. They even put one up in Churchill's War Room, whereas the poster in Hitler's bunker said, you don't have to be mad to work here. Yes, they've all encouraged people to stay calm, apart from Corporal Jones, who repeatedly told people, don't panic. David Cameron responded to Labour's accusations of sexism, saying, I don't know what it is about some people on the left. It seems that when they put the socialism in, they take the sense of humour out. I don't know, they elected Ed Miliband. The quip was regarded as deeply offensive, not least because it reminded everyone of the existence of Michael Winner.
His best friend doesn't like that.
Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication Nuts and Bolts magazine. Then we start with what out at sea confuses onlookers?
Ben Laden's body. Aquatic magician.
Stag, isn't it?
Stag swimming. A stag has been photographed swimming 1/4 of a mile off the Cornish coast. The photographer said why it was swimming in the sea is unclear. Maybe to avoid drowning. Next question. Do you know any software that allows you to program pick chips from within Linux? Answer, what?
Please go away.
No.
The short answer is no. There we are. Next, Clegg, I sneak off to what?
Vote no.
Cry.
Avoid Lib Dem voters.
Smoke.
Yes,
is
Smoke.
the
He's
right
mad for
answer.
the crack pipe.
Yes.
He's on Desert Island Discs and he said, what's your luxury item? And he went, packet of fags.
Realised afterwards he should have asked for a lighter and a box of matches as well. So, really make it away. That's how he speaks when he's on the radio.
Next, cheeky rodent hijacks what?
Ross Noble's shirt.
I'm a very hairy man. I should have waxed before. I'm waxing now.
Is it something to do with electrical wiring?
No. Wouldn't it be brilliant?
It's not from Nuts and Bolts.
It's not cheeky rodent hijacks holiday snap with toothy grin at camera. Here it is.
Oh, I saw that.
Hang on a second. How is this a news story?
It was one up on the gnome story.
This was in the Daily Express, so for that newspaper, by far the most heartwarming story to come out of South Africa since Nelson Mandela was arrested. Next, wrinkly nudists. What?
Solve the problem of where to put the keys.
Buy themselves an iron.
Wrinkly nudists try to revive sagging membership. Yes. According to the Wall Street Journal, as part of the recruitment drive, one nudist group is organising a naked dinner party. It's a formal occasion, so gentlemen will be required to wear a dicky bow. Young people are being recruited to join nudist colonies. They spend most of the time staring at the oldies, mentally dressing them. And finally, Lady Ada's bedazzler. What?
Every word in that sentence sounds like a euphemism for genitals.
I've had a bit of trouble with me Lady Ada. It's sitting on them warm floors that does it.
Lady Ada's bedazzler looks better than Princess Eugenie's. One.
Short circuits the national grid.
Lady Ada's bedazzler makes me sick. A female electronics graduate has created a device that can cause nausea, dizziness, headache and vomiting. It's called the handheld incapacitator. Something of a must-have if you're the only woman in the electronics faculty. So the final scores are Paul and Ross have 8, Ian and Victoria have 5. But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
You fat bitch.
That'll do. On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Victoria Coren, Paul Merton and Ross Noble, and I leave you with news that, as Wills and Kate tie the knot, police move in to control the most extravagant street party Yorkshire has ever seen. After the super injunction on his affair is lifted, there's speculation that Andrew Marr may, after all, have fathered a love child.
Are we seriously suggesting that Andrew Marr's had sex with a monkey? Yeah, we are, OK.
At the royal wedding reception, Prince Charles insists catering staff cook him a special organic lamb pie. And at the White House, the undercover officer who led the Navy SEAL raid reveals the disguise that fooled bin Laden. Good night.
Well, you know the name and how she made us laugh. But next on BBC Two, the life of Hattie Jakes as played by Ruth Jones. And then back to the 60s for Hattie's This Is Your Life tribute from Eamon Andrews at 11:10.